My story today was originally going to be this huge piece about Tamil identity. I'm Sri Lankan Tamil. Yeah. Shout out. Nope. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. But yeah, it was going to be, like being queer. It was going to cover everything from like the Civil War to the time I was outed to my entire extended family because a piece that I wrote for SBS went WhatsApp viral. But it was not going to fit in 10 minutes. And also, it feels really wrong to talk about war and displacement like it's a thing of the past, even though it mostly is for my family, especially when it's a very, very real thing for a lot of people around the world. And horrific things are happening in places like Palestine. And this is where I tell you that when you have a spare moment of time, go across the road to the picket in front of Albo's place, his house? No, his office. Because there are some incredible, staunch activists who are hanging out there. I've been there. It's a really lovely space, and it's really important to, show our solidarity. But yeah, I will get onto my story eventually. Let's all calm down. No one rush me. My story is called The Littlest Gym Bro. When I was a teenager, sports and fitness was not my thing. I learned that there were two batsmen would be on the cricket field at the same time when I was in year 8, which for a Sri Lankan is citizenship revoked. How did you not know that? But yeah, I wasn't a sports guy. And then it also didn't help that I was just so uncomfortable in my body. Change rooms were such a nightmare. The first time, a fellow teenager was like, wow, you have big boobs. I was like, this is the beginning of the end for me. I am out of here. I constantly wished I could just transcend my body and leave it on a wrinkled heap on the ground. And my consciousness could, fly away and focus on things that were more important to me, like reading Dramini fan fiction and watching Dan and Phil videos. I really said that on a microphone. Anyway. But then later on, when I was in my 20s, I decided I wanted to lift weights. At the time, I didn't know why. The gym was so intimidating, especially for me, who don't do the sports. And it's filled with all these muscly men competing in the activity of repetitively lifting heavy objects in what a lot of people think is, the epitome of toxic masculinity. But for some reason, in my little baby lesbian brain, I was like, I need to be there. But I was very scared, because again, the gym is scary. So I started at a women's gym. And that was definitely kind of a safe-ish space, but a problem rose very quickly. The walls were lined with every cardio machine you could imagine. The treadmill, Stairmaster, stationary bike, the thing where you stand and your legs do that, if we can all see what I'm doing. But the weight section was just a little square in the corner with maximum 7-kilo dumbbells. And I was like, this is not working for me, because I had forgotten the cardinal rule of womanhood, which is that women can't be muscular, which is very am I allowed to swear? I don't know. Which is very messed up. God forbid a woman, got really strong and grew really muscly, veiny arms and thick thighs that could crush your head in a display of frankly goddess-like power. I mean, sorry. I'm telling you a story. I am aware. The women's gym, yes. It didn't have what I needed. I needed to leave. I was also not really identifying as a woman by that point, so I was kind of okay, ladies, I'm in your space. This is weird. So yeah, I forced myself to, really be in that anxiety and go to a regular gym. And I really fell in love with lifting weights. I was seeing muscles grow where I was told they weren't supposed to, and my chest was getting tighter. These used to be like bigger. I know, it's wild. And my arms got bigger, and there was so much gender euphoria. And I fucking loved it. I swore. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear, but I did. Anyway. And the vibe of the gyms was fine. Like, I was clearly like this weird little guy doing my thing, and around me were like these big white dudes, like very heterosexual. I was bringing a very different vibe to the table. And I could feel how different I was to my bones, and that made me really self-conscious and too self-conscious to socialize. And so it was a bit lonely, and I was like, that's fine. You know, I'm in my gym bro era, so like hood up, earphones in, it's, no pain, no gain, you know, it's all alone, it's just me and the metal. And that was so healthy and great. And then I had to move to a new gym, a gym that had the broiest of gym bros. They traveled around in packs, hunting their prey, which was people who are taking up machines by lifting lighter weights than them. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have testosterone yet. It's not my fault. Anyway. It was a very, like, violently heterosexual gym. Like, I could feel people, like, thinking dyke when I walked past, which was probably in my head. So I was like, hey, I love the gym. I'm going to be here. Plus, there was Glasses Lady. Glasses Lady was like me, but older. Kind of small and did not look like someone who lifted, but was at the gym all the time and lifted heavy. Like, she was very strong. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm not alone here. There's me and there's Glasses Lady. We're good. And then one day, I needed to use a weights machine and noticed the person who was using it was none other than Glasses Lady. And, you know, she was like chatting with this huge dude before doing her another set, and I was like, this is my chance. I'm gonna go up to her, I'm gonna tell her that I think she's really awesome and strong, and we're gonna become best friends. And, you know, it'll be like a maternal relationship. Not that I don't have that in my life, but like it's a bit weird in my actual one. Anyway, so she finished her lift. I waited for a second and put on a smile, and I was like, hey, is anyone using this lift after you? This machine, I mean, I know how to talk at the gym. And she turns to me and she's like, can you give me a fucking second? I was like, oh no. And then she was kind of mean to me. And yeah, she like gets up and is kind of like carrying on, because I don't think she liked lesbians, which I didn't account for. And that was okay. I just left. I went to the bathroom and then cried, and then I texted my girlfriend, and then I breathed, and then I left. And I feel like something that's common amongst queer Asians is that we settle into this baseline of anxiety, like this knowledge that you're going to be working from a different space to a lot of the people around you, and even if that's, you know, makes you feel a bit out of place, you're like, okay, I'm just going to have to deal with it because that's life. Like, I'm in this country, I'm this being, you know, too Asian to be gay, too gay to be Asian, blah, blah, blah. So you just like settle, kind of. You try to find spaces that you feel safe and good in, like tonight, hopefully. But a lot of the time, it just, you know, just like, okay, I'm just gonna be here. I'm saying this like it's an everyone thing. It might just be my little mentally ill brain, but anyway. The gym was one of the places that I had settled for being uneasy in, and I didn't want to do that anymore. This Glasses Lady incident kind of woke me up to the fact that I really enjoy lifting. It's a really extremely important part of my gender identity in a weird way. And, I can't settle for a place that I feel unsafe and where I felt like I didn't belong. So I went on the hunt for a new gym. Like, I did trials and I wrote pros and cons lists and I updated my close friends on Instagram about all of them. And eventually, I came across a gym that was quite interesting to me. There were a lot of people who weren't men who were lifting heavy at this gym, and there were a lot of masculine people who didn't lift heavy. It was really diverse, lots of Asians and other people of color, and a lot of very LGBTQ plus looking motherfuckers around as well, which I enjoyed. And so the minute I walked in, I immediately felt at ease. I was able to work up the courage to be my chatty self at the gym, and it's been feeling like more of a community than I've ever experienced before. It helps that I don't feel like a weird little guy. I'm one with everyone. That was a weird turn of phrase. Anyway, I've only just started, so I don't want to jinx it, but the other day, I saw a brown woman deadlifting. She was deadlifting 140 kilos plus. It was incredible. And it was the first time I'd ever seen another brown person who wasn't a cis man lifting weights. And I wanted to talk to her because I just love having a little chat. But I was really nervous because of what happened with Glasses Lady, we recall. But so I psyched myself out a few times and eventually was like, no, I'm just gonna do it. And I went up to her and I told her wow, you are very impressive, you go, girl. And she was really thrilled. She said I made her day and we chatted and it was really nice. And so yeah, there were a lot of tears and anxiety in this process. But it finally feels like I found a place where I belong. I guess that's why they say, no pain, no gain. Thank you very much.